Hello everybody and welcome to the first part of What If Naruto Left Konoha with his Uzumaki uncle. I hope you enjoy this What If. Also don't forget to like and subscribe to stay up to date with the latest episodes. Naruto, the Forgotten Clan. ch1 Recovery. A pair of ninja crossed the forest, silent but unwavering. The wind seemed still as the two boys moved through the forest. If someone saw them, they could have seen one of the ninja as close to death as a shinobi could possibly get. One was carrying the other, lifting by his right hand, wrapped around the other's shoulder, the other's weight entirely on him. The carrier's left hand hung limp at the side, a giant hole running through the shoulder attaching the arm. The one being carried didn't look that damaged, he was bloodied, the center of his chest almost demolished and twisted to unknown degrees, but not broken, only unconscious. The carrier had blonde spiky hair, and blue eyes. 3 whisker marks ran on both sides of his face. He was smaller than most his age and height, and with fair skin. He wore a orange tracksuit with a small amount of blue on the shoulders, a red swirl on his back, orange pants with a shuriken holster on his right hip, a bright blue gem for a necklace, blue sandals, and a blue headband attaching a leaf protector to it, showing his affiliation with the Leaf Village, home to him. His name was Naruto Uzumaki. The second ninja was fairer in skin, along with onyx eyes and black hair that was spiky in the back with long bangs. He wore a blue short-sleeved shirt with a high collar with the Uchiha crest on the back, a fan-like symbol with white at its base colored red on the front end. White shorts, black sandals, a blue forehead protector on it, also showing the symbol of the leaf, but now for this man it didn't represent the same things it used to. His name was Sasuke Uchiha. Naruto's face showed every meaning of pain as he limped towards the hidden leaf gates. His mask dropped, tears stained his face from the pain each step gave him. Propping up his shoulder again, the effect lifted Sasuke as he continued crawling the way towards home. This was the worst pain he felt in his life. No beating, no jutsu could really compare what was going on inside the boy. Nerves were shot from the electricity of the Chidori, barely making him register the surroundings that were with him, but he continued to fight on. It was not only physical pain but mentally he was shot. The promise he made to Sakura was about the only thing that kept him going. It was the only thing that really mattered. Memories flooded his mind of what happened only moments before. Each sound, emotional feeling, and pain felt was scared into his body. A flash, a single memory called to mind, filling the void his thoughts used to inhabit. Naruto. Sasuke. Both ninja launched into the air on the opposite sides of the waterfall. Water, rubble, and power following in their path. Both having their signature jutsus in hand and ready to stop or kill the other. Naruto, cloaked with the power of the Nine Tails, a single tail waving behind him, his slits for eyes flowing with tears. He never wanted this, but he needed to stop his friend. With everything he had, in no world would he let Sasuke be captured and used. Even if Naruto had to bring back the Uchiha piece by piece. Sasuke was flying with the wings of monstrosity powered by the curse mark. The power it gave him was intoxicating. He needed to settle this, nothing would stand in his way. No bond, no friend would stand against him, not even Naruto. The one person whom he once thought could understand him the most. But now Sasuke understood, he was not like him, no one would ever be like him. Naruto was weak, feelings dominated what he could do. In order to be stronger, Sasuke needed to let go of everything. The jutsu between the flowed with power matching ninja of before. The Rasengan, a normally blue orb, now colored red, and the Chidori, a lightning-infused arm normally colored blue and chirping like 1,000 birds, now louder and colored black. With a yell of pain and a rush of movement, the two jutsu clashed. Destroying the area in a massive shockwave, covering the area in a black orb. Naruto thought about his friend, he needed to get home, and for that he couldn't hold back. Not a single inch could be given, not even his bond towards Sasuke could stand in his way. He didn't waste time. Aiming the Rasengan towards Sasuke's chest, it hit direct on. While Naruto wasted no time, Sasuke was caught off guard by this. He thought that his once friend would hold back, not directly attack. In this state of shock the Chidori missed, striking the air behind Naruto, past his shoulder. The Rasengan however hit Sasuke dead on. Making the Uchiha's chest form into a mess of flesh, blood, and bones. Blowing him out of the orb and into the far wall, striking it and making a huge indent. Unable to hold himself, Sasuke fell forward and into the water face first, already unconscious before he hit the river. Floating upward, Naruto landed on the water, watching as his friend rose to the surface, not moving. At the very least, Naruto thought, he was alive. Moving quickly, Naruto dispersed the fox's chakra and caught his friend within the water. The orb of black then dissipated, sending a massive chakra pulse through the area, powerful in nature. A wave of slight peace flowed through Naruto. He won, he got Sasuke and saved him from his fate with the snake Sannin. Suddenly he felt the stinging pain of the Chidori through his system. It was painful and almost unbearably so. But ignoring it, Naruto hoisted his friend by the shoulder, ready for the walk home. Let's get you home, team. With the memory ending, nothing blocked the reality before him. On the verge of collapsing and not near enough towards the village. Naruto could barely see in front of him as he walked along the dirt road. As time passed, he wondered on how the others within his team did: Choji, Neji, Shikamaru, Kiba. They were strong, of that there was no doubt. But those others, the ones working for Orochimaru, they seemed different, strong, but their strength was wrong, almost artificial. At first there was hope of finding them, but as time went on, the slight search for others failed to bear fruit. Never finding the other ninja on his team, he continued, hoping the village was near and that his friends were safe. At least one ninja should have been sent out to search for them. It had been a while since the group left. But it did rain, and the only chakra running through Naruto's body right now was the fox's. He only hoped that Sasuke had some as well. He wasn't the smartest in the 12, but he knew the consequences of not having chakra for a period of time. Hopefully Naruto could get there in time. If anything, at least someone find them. I will save you, team. I will get you home. Naruto turned to his comrade and friend as he limped along. Well aware that he was knocked out, Naruto began to speak to him. You are something, you know that. I hope you can buy me enough ramen to cover this. Sasuke's finger moved as Naruto's face brightened, finally a sliver of hope for the ninja. I will get you home, I promised. And I always keep my promises. The sunlight hit him hard as it rose over the horizon, brightening the world with a golden glow. But at the same time dampening his already horrible vision. For the first time in a while, he had hope. Somehow I have a good feeling about what's to come. Naruto smiled, thinking about his welcome home party for bringing Sasuke back, and limped on. Naruto was on the verge of collapsing as he reached the gates. For some reason, no civilians were outside the gates. It almost seemed on lockdown. Not exactly surprising, since one of the Leaf's most honored ninja went on the run. The imposing wooden gate stood wide, allowing him entrance. Barely keeping his eyes open as he limped towards the village through pure force of will. Someone stood in the distance, almost waiting. His face brightened when he saw Sakura standing there, waiting for him. Naruto was happy. He fulfilled his promise. Maybe she might notice me now. Sakura was a fair-skinned ninja, with green eyes and bright pink hair. Other people said that she has a slightly large forehead, but Naruto even really thought anything of it. Wearing a red dress with white circular designs and tight dark green shorts. Sakura's hairstyle consisted of long bangs and a little short in the back after her haircut. Her forehead proctor wore on her head like a headband. Naruto beamed a smile, one that could have been too big for his head. Now several instances ran through Naruto's mind as he approached the gates. Some included lines of "my hero" or "knight in shining armor." But if anything, he never really expected this. Well, for Sakura to rush up and take Sasuke from his hands was one thing. To turn at him with almost hatred was another. Who did this? Naruto leaned next to the girl in hopes of calming her down. She did have a crush on the boy that ran deeply, so she could be overreacting. Listen, we need to get to the hospital, dash. Her eyes widened again at the hole in Naruto's chest, deep and running straight through. Any person could have been killed by something like that. How did he survive? Putting that aside, Sakura pointed towards the wound. Naruto, who did that? What the hell happened to the two of you? His right arm reaching for it, wincing slightly as he touched the mark. It's not as bad as it looks, trust me, but I can't move my arm. But come on, we dash dot. Who did it? All right. We were at the final valley when I caught up to him. I tried to reason, but he didn't want to come, so we fought. At the end he had used his curse mark. Sakura, he didn't want to come back. But I had to keep my promise to you, so we clashed. Sasuke did this to my chest, and I gave him a raise in return. Not enough to internally damage him but enough to keep him unconscious. He stopped as Sakura's eyes grew wider and wider as the story went on. Naruto could see her mind not accepting it, that she wouldn't and couldn't accept Sasuke as the bad guy. Even if it was the truth, to her it was a bold-faced lie. Nothing could replace her version of Sasuke-kun, even after the Uchiha struck her back, even after he left for the Sound, even after he almost killed Naruto. It didn't make sense to the spiky-haired ninja though. How could she not see it? How could she not see his side of the story and claim that his was the only truth? He did this for her, no one else but her. Why could she not understand? Maybe if he just explained a little more it could help, but by now his vision was growing darker and his voice more tired by the second. How he wanted to sleep. Look Sakura, I can explain later but ... Go away. Sakura Go away Naruto. Get away from him, you have done enough. The words stung like ice. He had pleaded for her to listen but she just couldn't understand, he guessed. Just ... No, I can take care of him. Why won't you listen to me, why won't you ever listen to me? At this moment multiple villagers had begun to take notice of the argument. What they weren't listening to, they were piecing together themselves. Sasuke, the pride of the leaf, unconscious. The demon fox standing above him, with another ninja telling him to leave. That was all they needed. Screw the Hokage, justice was theirs finally. Nothing would stop this now. Each approached the gate with a less an imposing aura but still with a dark intent. With a slight turn of his head, Naruto saw the approaching villagers. Sensing the approaching conflict and the situation he was in, it looked bad, horrible actually. Seeing this, Naruto began raising his arms to try and defend himself. Wait a minute, this isn't what it looks like, right Sakura? The woman didn't listen, she would never listen, all she had in her mind was Sasuke. The man himself groaning at her touch. Naruto was on his own, it didn't look good either, there was at least 20 of them. Immense pain raced through him, burning straight to his nerves. Falling over, he kneeled before the approaching mob as they spoke curses at his name, so, finally decided to break her. Knew you couldn't control it, I almost believed that show at the Chunin exams. How could the fool of a Hokage even believe in you? Each of these words were meaningless, but still hurt. He drew a kunai, in safety for them, he didn't want it to get out. If it did he would be the monster they claimed him to be. The kunai gleamed off the sun and the glares they gave. If he could speak, Naruto would have tried to warn them, he could feel the fox brewing. It was ready but he wasn't. The last of his willpower was coming to control the fox but it was slowly breaking the barriers. Please, get back. I don't want to hurt you. Look, he is threatening us. Like he could hurt us, look at the hole in his arm. Demon. Fox. The first blow to his face didn't hurt as much as it should. The second kick to his stomach, as he lay on the ground, did though. Something inside of him cracked. The tears he had been holding back flowed. In the pain he reached for the form of his teammates, both of which ignored his pleas for help. Flowing into insanity, the pain didn't matter, what only did was the fact that he could feel it, he was alive. At some point he had been moved, to Kami knows where. An alley maybe. The blows came faster, no, stronger, smarter. They aimed for ribs, skull, they gorged out the hole in his chest, but he still felt pain, he was alive. He blacked out maybe twice, it didn't seem to matter, this is how he was going to die. Suddenly as the blows came, they stopped. He saw a few figures, around his height. Voices invaded his mind, crying out for them to stop did nothing. Darkness closed in, he could feel the cold grasp of death. Naruto embraced the darkness. Until a light shined through it, he could barely make out two more figures in the dark, a man and woman. One with blonde hair, the other with red. That was when he lost consciousness, if he had any to have left. Hinata had never really been a social person. But when friend needed her, it was in her to help. Well, not really friend, she wasn't as sure he considered her one, but he was clearly distressed in any case. Talking seemed to calm the nerves though, he was always a more controlled person, too lazy to show really any emotion besides tired. But for now, he needed friends. Naruto was gone, seemingly vanished as Kakashi returned with almost no word on the two, Sasuke included. The rest of his team was unconscious, in surgery, or worse. He had left battle with a scratch on his finger. That was one thing that hurt him the most. The fact they almost died for something he clearly survived. Returning back to reality, she was walking through the main village street with Shino, Tenten, Ino, and Shikamaru, the one in distress. Shino Aburame was one of the three on her team, besides Kiba. He was a quiet ninja, never really socializing like her and forgotten a lot much to his dismay. But he was loyal to a fault, if he accepted you as a friend. He had pale skin, and dark hair spiking upwards. Kiba had described it as a afro but she couldn't see it. Nothing could be said of his eyes or face. He wore dark sunglasses at all times, along with a seriously high-collared gray coat, and his protector hanging around his forehead finished his relatively simple look. However, looks can be deceiving. Although everyone found his ability creepy, she found it quite interesting. Shino had the ability to control bugs that bred and lived within him, absorbing chakra and doing his fighting for him. Hinata thought it was cool, but somehow others couldn't see it. Tenten was also someone she didn't really talk to much. She had decided that since Lee had been sedated enough and Niji wasn't going anywhere, she too would try to talk to Shikamaru in calming him down. Hinata didn't really know much about her. She was particularly upbeat in most situations and happy. She also knew that her abilities consisted of mainly ninja tools, shuriken, kunai, and the like. She had buns for her brown hair, on both right and left sides of her head. Her eyes were dark brown, her skin was fair, and her outfit was made of a pink sleeveless blouse, dark green pants, forehead protector also on her forehead, and green sandals. Ino Yamanaka was a bit different to Hinata. A bit fangirlish, or a certain Uchiha didn't help her opinion of her. But in most cases when she was with Shikamaru or Choji, she was more calm but still in the upbeat attitude. Hinata only really knew of the girl's mind transfer jutsu, but besides that she didn't really have any special abilities. She is fair-skinned with green eyes, long blonde hair that ran into one ponytail down her back with her right bangs hanging down the right side of her face. Her outfit was a purple vest-like blouse, a purple apron skirt, bandages on her stomach and legs, and finally her protector was hung around her waist as a belt. Hinata sometimes envied her looks but never said anything of it. She seemed nice when she wasn't fangirling. Shikamaru Nara, the final person in their group, was the one they were trying to console. He seemed fine but was too lazy for Hinata's standards. She had seen his fight in the Chunin exams. He was something but never seemed to apply himself. His clan's abilities allowed him to manipulate shadows. It was a certainly handy ability. He needed help though, especially now with his best friend not here to console him. Choji was in surgery, in intensive care. He might not make it. He was cursing himself for leaving him with that sound ninja. Shikamaru was a slightly tanned ninja with dark eyes. His hair was wrapped in a spiky ponytail behind him, dark in color. He wore a green Chunin vest, consisting of 2 pouches on the chest and a zipper running upwards, high in the shoulders, along with brown pants and a gray undershirt. Shikamaru wore his protector on the arm, wrapped around his bicep. Herself, how could she describe? Hinata Hyuga, dark midnight hair and fair skin. Her eyes the pure white that belonged to her special clan, with a slight touch of lavender. Her hair is short and leveled just above her forehead with chin-length stands framing her face, along with it being short in the back. Her outfit was a cream hooded jacket with a fire symbol on the upper right and left sleeves, with navy blue pants, and her protector around her neck. She was extremely shy and, like she said, unsocial. Hinata couldn't really understand why they dragged her along with the group, but she decided to go along anyway. Even Shino was going, so that was a plus, and the fact that Shino was willing to be social was something like a miracle. They started to travel ahead as their conversation deepened. Listening slightly, she caught most of the conversation. Shikamaru started again, still in his expression that worsened at Naruto's disappearance. I still feel some blame. Look what happened to Choji, Niji, Lee, Kiba, and Gaara, who almost died fighting for something he didn't have to. Ino sighed a little. Listen, you know Choji would never blame you. He fought for what he believed in. He is a tough lug. He can survive. I just hope you are right. Are you okay, Hinata? I mean, your cousin is in intensive care as well. Hinata stumbled a little before getting the sentence out. Why, yes, I am slightly worried, but like Choji, he is strong. He will survive. The pineapple nodded, maybe easing some of his nerves. This lifted the Hyuga's own spirits a little. Seeing her friends happy brought a smile to her face and a slight warmth towards the heart. It was something she always enjoyed, seeing friends happy. Nothing should really make her friends sad. But then again, she wasn't the happiest person in the world right now. The object of her affections all but gone, but hiding her feelings slightly, and dodging the questions about the ninja. But inside, she was almost a reek. At the very least Niji was back safely. That was something to be happy about. Returning to reality, the sound of an ANBU landing woke her from the nightmare in her mind, taking the moment from them. ANBU, she never really liked them, imposing and designed to drive fear. All they wore was black leather armor with a white mask painted with the marks of a certain animal. This one depicted a cat. It bowed slightly before turning towards Shikamaru. We have found Sasuke. Only one thought ran through his mind at the moment. Did you find Naruto? No, the one who had the Uchiha said that Naruto was carried away by villagers. I am required to stay by the Uchiha, but I know one of you is a Hyuga. He is in the village search. Has the Hokage already heard of this? No, the council is keeping it from her, but I am sure someone will relay the message. Now I have to leave. Find him, please. With that he took off, leaving the group in a state of slight shock, too in the case of Hinata and Shikamaru. The pineapple quickly turned to Hinata, his face one of concern. You heard the man. If he is in the village you can sense him out. Ino was turning to leave when Shikamaru already caught her shadow. Oh no you don't, he needs our help more than the Uchiha. The blonde sighed but accepted the position she was in as Shikamaru released her shadow. The pineapple then turned towards Hinata, giving a quick and silent command. With a quick acceptance her Byakugan blazed. Her pale eyes pulsed with chakra and the veins around them bulged from the jutsu. Quickly looking around she spotted a familiar chakra, along with a few others that weren't so. She quickly gasped before taking off, the group she was with moments behind her. Dashing through the village, she came to stop at an alleyway, facing Naruto, bloodied, bruised, and broken, being destroyed by several villagers muttering curses at his name. Throwing punches without care or remorse. She didn't pause, she didn't wait, she only struck. The first was down by a blow to the back, her palm smashing into it, cracking bones with an audible crack. The second turned and tried to swipe at her, but as she caught his arm and pressed upwards on his elbow, breaking it, then hit his stomach with her palm, sending him flying into the wall behind them. The rest started to try and run but were stopped as their own shadows caught them, stopping and making them struggle against the restraints. The group landed then with Shikamaru, Shino already sending a wave of bugs that encompassed them, eating away at the chakra inside them before leaving the villagers and rendering them incapacitated upon the ground. Others got a bit further but then were pinned to the walls by Shuriken and Kwani, a certain blonde and brunette smiling at them, the villagers trying to pull against the tools but failing. The final one turned, seeing as his mob left and were disposed of by children. He turned to the Hyuga, and brandished a small knife. Don't make me do dash dot. That was all he could say as Hinata moved faster than he could see, and with one chop enclosed his windpipe. A collective gasp and groan of pain from the group, save for Shino who raised an eyebrow at the strike. The man struggled for air, clawing away at his hollowed neck. But taking pity, she delivered another blow to the back of his neck again, popping out the windpipe allowing him to draw breath, knocking him out in the process. Her eyes blazed and teeth were grinding, she was well beyond pissed and nothing was going to stand in her way. Looking up, she could see the group in front of her, their eyes slightly shocked at what she just did. Ino quickly turned to 10-10, a noticeable fear in her eyes but trying to be replaced by sarcasm. Remind me not to piss her off. Naruto. Shino and Shikamaru rushed forward to the blonde ninja. Already assessing his wounds before they reached the boy. His body was broken and hair stained with blood, but for some reason, some bruises and small wounds were healing before their eyes. It was strange but at this point it wasn't their main concern. The entire left shoulder was almost gone by a massive hole. Who could have done that? Not something a regular civilian could do, and from the ground they just defeated, there were no ninja among them. But placing the thought away, the two boys picked up an arm and hoisted Naruto to his feet, taking off towards the hospital. Hinata well on their tracks, eyes slightly stained by tears and face showing that of pain. Behind them 10-10 called out, "We will handle the villagers." The sentence however falling upon deaf ears. She was more concerned of the blonde ninja in the boy's arms, so close to death. When they arrived, the hospital was already abuzz with activity from the Uchiha showing up, as well with the genin that had came back with the team. Doctors, ninja, and more rushing around the area with somewhere to be. None seemed to notice them as they entered with a slightly dead Naruto. The building was around what you would expect from a hospital: white walls, generic wall art that hung on the walls, and multiple people running through the place in a hurry. All of their eyes scanned the room before Shikamaru rushed up to a nearby doctor that seemingly brushed past them, even looking like he wanted to avoid them. With Naruto in tow, this ninja needs medical attention. The fox. Try again. The what? I won't treat him, no one else will either. Good luck reviving him on your own. He turned back towards the hallway he had come from to see a very angry Shino. You didn't have to see his eyes to tell, he was buzzing. That was never a good thing for any Aburame. Their hives showed the ninja's emotions more than it should, and he wasn't happy at this doctor's treatment of Naruto. Then where is one who will? Shino wasn't stupid. If he did convince the doctor to treat Naruto, it would be done poorly and without care. He would die from the procedure itself. An idea then came to Shino, rather a faint memory of an individual they could possibly trust. He had only hoped she was working tonight. Where is Shizune? Why? He didn't get further as he felt something traveling up his legs. Now did he notice the trail of bugs that were coming from the ninja's coat. Walking forward, he seemed to project an aura of seriousness and fear. Something easily accomplished by an Aburame. Leaning next to the doctor's ear, his voice was strong and powerful. He would not be denied. This was just insurance. The bugs in your pants are highly toxic beetles, Hycleus lugens. One bite will send a nerve-damaging toxin through your system, causing chemical burns, almost to the point of fatal, and the removal of such toxin is painful at the least. Now I am betting you are wondering how to get out of this. It is simple: tell us where Shizune is. Or the literal ants in your pants will put you in a very painful state, and remember, don't say the wrong answer, they may get a little jumpy. Hinata didn't know if Shino was joking. He never joked. Then again, she shouldn't judge. She did almost kill a man. Well, he would heal. Nothing important was broken, except his dignity. But still it felt exhilarating. Sure, she shouldn't do it in the first place, but in protecting Naruto she had to do it. Hinata needed to protect her friends, at all costs. With a look of complete fear, the doctor only pointed towards a separate hallway at the other end of the room, muttering a room number. Hinata could have sworn that Shino was smiling when he whispered into the doctor's ear again, "I was lying." She could have burst out laughing then, but remembering Naruto, she helped Shikamaru with the side. Shino dropped as he led the way. The doctor behind them in a state of shock, fear, and one of being dumbfounded. The doors seemed all too much the same as Hinata along with the group traveled towards the unknown destination. Gray doors with white walls, over and over again. They really needed color in this place. It felt like they were going in circles when they stopped at a door, in which Shino threw open, allowing the other two to pass through. In the room, Hinata saw a few things. It was a surgery room. A small bed in the middle of the room surrounded with lights, and a small cart next, filled with instruments she couldn't begin to understand. There were also 3 people within the room. One was Choji Akimichi. The boy was fairly large in stature, in width not necessarily length, so his body was made to compensate, his cheeks pudgy and body a little wide. He had slightly tanned skin with red swirls on his cheeks. For now he was dressed in a white robe, due to his hospitalization. His hair was light brown and spiking upwards slightly, his eyes a dark color. He was a nice guy all things considered, but too much obsessed with food and eating. And if you fear for your life, don't call him fat. The second one was Shizune herself. Fair-skinned, black eyes and hair, styled straight and shoulder-length with bangs that cover her ears. She seemed to be wearing her regular outfit, a long black dress that ran down to her legs with white open-toed sandals. She seemed all right, extremely close to Tsunade, the Hokage, almost like a protege in some cases. The final one was the Hokage herself, Tsunade. The leader of the village, an exceptional ninja as well as a healer. She was a light-skinned woman with brown eyes and straight, blonde hair that is tied into 2 loose ponytails reaching her back. Along with that, she was a violet rhombus mark on her forehead. As much as Hinata dislikes talking about it, the Hokage has a rather large bust to match with a slender figure. With Shizune, she was wearing her normal outfit, a gray blouse with no sleeves, a grass-green long jacket with no hood, dark blue pants, and open-toed sandals with high heels. As they entered the room, it seemed as if Choji was getting a checkup. Well, until they walked into the room where all of their eyes stared at Naruto with fear for his life. Tsunade quickly turned to Choji, who already promptly got off the table, allowing Naruto to be placed upon. The woman turned to the group who brought him in. "I will do all I can for now, I will ask questions later, wait outside." It had taken a while to explain what had happened to Choji, and each detail drove more anger and sadness into the boy. He had been munching on a bag of potato chips but put them away after the story had been told. Hinata didn't really blame him. She too was angry, scared, and fearful. Fearful for what would happen to the young blonde. All of them waited outside for a while. Minutes turned into hours, and the hours kept moving on. Eventually it became dark outside, the moon shining brightly against the sky. The stars, however, were missing, blocked by darkened clouds. Ino left, being called away by her father, having to go home. 10-10-2 left, but having to check on Niji and Lee. Shino detested when an Aburame stated his father had called for him, but with a nod from Hinata he left as well. Next was Choji, having been called away by other doctors who needed to check on him, them having to literally pull the boy out of his seat. Leaving only Shikamaru and Hinata. No words were spoken, they both knew the risks he had. They would wait though, they needed to know. Eventually, sleep started to take them. That was until a certain Jounin walked into the room, a book in his hand, reading furiously. Something to keep him distracted from destroying the villagers who did the damage to Naruto or Sasuke. Followed by him were three others, the other sensei, Asuma Sarutobi, Might Guy, and Kurini Yui. Kakashi Hatake, the first, was a strange person, always seen with a book in his hand. He was the sensei of Sakura, Naruto, and Sasuke. How that was about to change. But now he looked pissed, as the others almost looked like they were trying to keep him at bay. Kakashi is a light-skinned person with dark eyes, his hair is silver that spikes upwards and to the right, almost like it is defying gravity itself. Wearing a Jounin vest, similar to the Chunin, a dark blue long-sleeve shirt with red swirls on the upper arms, dark blue pants, a mask covering the lower part of his face, that which he wore at all times, and his protector was on his forehead, but tilted a little as to hide his left eye for some reason. Hinata had heard he had a Sharingan under the protector, a ability that usually only belonged to the Uchiha clan. It is a wonder how he got it. Asuma Sarutobi, the sensei of Shikamaru, Ino, and Choji. A rather reserved individual. First, he doesn't really get involved in most cases unless it is necessary, like now with Kakashi. Second, he is calm about most things, always shown with a cigarette in his mouth, even if it isn't lit. He is tall, with brown eyes, tanned skin, black spiky hair, and a beard of the same color. He had the same style uniform as Kakashi but with his sleeves rolled halfway, and the forehead protector. He also wore a sash with the kanji for fire on his waist. Might Guy was certainly off. Always claiming to be Kakashi's eternal rival and spouting about the power of youth every minute of the waking day. It was a shame that Rock Lee was converted to his religion of youth. He is a tall, built man, high cheekbones, seriously thick eyebrows that seem to defy logic, and black hair cut in a bowl style. He wears a green jumpsuit, orange leg warmers, and a Jounin vest, wearing his protector around his waist like a belt. Although he is Kakashi's rival, he is trying to calm him down, probably from doing anything dangerous, as this was unyouthful. Kurini Yui was the final one of the group, the sensei of Hinata, Shino, and Kiba. Hinata could describe her as a nice person, but to her she is almost like an bigger sister. She is light-skinned, long black hair that seems untamed, and red-colored eyes. She wears a red mesh armor blouse with bandages over the armor with a pattern similar to rose thorns. Her upper thighs are also wrapped in the bandages. The group of Jounin stopped at the duo. Kakashi was the first to turn to them. Fear, anger, and more within his eye. The pained expression on his face was only matched by the pain within the voice. Where is he? Shikamaru pointed towards the door across from them. They have been in there for almost a day. I don't know how. He was stopped at the sound of the door opening, revealing a bloodly Tsunade and Shizune, obviously tired and exhausted by the bags hanging over their eyes. With a faint nod, Tsunade turned to the group. A smile across her face, not even forced. He will be fine, the kid is strong. How he survived for that long is still a feat in itself. Can we see him? Kakashi calmed down. I know dash dot. I missed him. As I checked every inch of the forest, I missed them both. How could I? I have no idea how I did, but this is on me. If I did find them, he wouldn't. Enough, Kakashi, he will be fine. If you want to, you can wait till he regains consciousness, but it won't be for a few days at the most. So I would advise that all of you go home. With a small grumble, Kakashi promptly sat down by the door and began to read at a furious pace. No one really wanted to even talk to him at this point. It looked like he was on the verge of exploding. Except for one, Might Guy, who sat next to his rival with an almost saddened look. He began to meditate. This was to be expected, the two were not usually able to be separated. Tsunade sighed at the two and looked over to her student. The woman next to her was in the same state that she was in. They both had worked through the night, feeling the strain of sleep coming to them and the need for a drink. Come on, let's go, Shizun. With a quick nod, the duo left across the hall. Probably to the next patient. Asuma was the first to turn to Shikamaru. He noticed that the man's cigarette wasn't lit. Possibly for this being a hospital. Come on, Shikamaru, I'll walk you home. There was no fight left within him. Standing up, he gave a small wave towards Hinata before leaving with his sensei, into the hallway where Tsunade went. Kurenai then turned to Hinata. The girl already looked out of it, barely even paying attention that her sensei was here. Putting a hand under Hinata's legs and one behind her back, Kurenai picked her up, the small girl already sounding like she was asleep. Turning to Kakashi, she lightly whispered, "Tell me when he wakes up, I'll give the message to her." With a nod from the man, returning to his book and the one eye he possessed straining against the need for sleep, Kurenai then left, holding the small Hyuga in her arms as she muttered something about a blonde ninja. The man stopped, his entire system felt the chakra pulse. It was too familiar, it couldn't be. Standing up from a large tree, he could see the forest in front of him entirely. But from where the burst came from was another place, far to the east. He turned back, gazing at a mountain behind him. It stood imposing in the land of green. The tall and wide, it was the only one of its kind within a few thousand miles. Would they allow him to go? I mean, feeling that chakra was not just a coincidence, and if he brought him back, maybe he could help. It was midday by now, and he had no supplies, and it would take about a day before he could reach the place, but he would be damned if he was kept away. With the faintest decision, he leapt from the branch and towards the chakra signature. His feet already blazing from the amount of force he was driving into them. The sun shined above, cloudless. He smiled to himself. Naruto, finally. Naruto awoke with a start. His heart racing, clutching his chest and yelling in pain the feeling gave him. Water invaded his eyes as the door burst open, sending light into the pitch-black room. Now he noticed where he was. A medical building of some sort, due to the tools nearby him. Continuing to yell out, remembering some names. From Sasuke to Hinata, he cried out in pain. Finally a figure in front of him stood, trying to speak but the words fell deaf upon his ears. As his vision readjusted to the light, so did the sounds to his ears. First hearing the slight beeps of a heart monitor, decreasing by each second. Then the voices that came to him, he recognized it, of an old friend, Kakashi-sensei. "Yes, Naruto, I am here. Are you okay?" He turned to look at the elder ninja, his eyes were full of worry and desperation. He had truly cared if he had lived or died. "Yeah, just be quieter, my head hurts." "What happened?" "I only know the basics, but some villagers got to you after you returned with Sasuke. They hurt you pretty bad, Naruto. I won't lie, they cut a massive hole in your chest and broke a few things within you. But luckily Shino, Ino, Tenten, Shikamaru, and Hinata found you, and brought you here where you were treated by Tsunade and Shizun. They were lucky to get to you. That hole would have killed you if it sat any longer." "The hole was from Team," he hit me with a Chidori. Kakashi's eyes widened for a second, he then calmly pulled a chair from the far room and sat next to Naruto's bed. "Start from the beginning." The story was a short one but devastating to Kakashi. He still couldn't believe how he missed them. What surprised him the most was the two figures in his dream. If they were who he thought they were, maybe it could be close to telling him. And that is about all that happened. Kakashi sighed. "I wish there is something we could do about Sasuke, but I doubt it. The council thinks of him as too great of a power. I will try to do all that I can, but I doubt it will be much. I'm sorry Naruto, I should have been there. Naruto shook his head, placing a hand on Kakashi's shoulder. For a moment, the silver-haired ninja saw someone else. He was taller but with the same colored hair and large smile that spanned his face. For that moment he was slightly happy and relieved, seeing the man always brought that out in him for some reason. But as the story came to an end, a knock on the door was heard. And with a small "come in" from Naruto, a few figures walked into the room. Shikamaru was first, scratching the back of his head and looking like he had not slept the entire night. Irika was second, a younger man. He was tanned with a scar along the bridge of his nose. With dark brown eyes and light brown hair, that was tied into a spiked ponytail. He also wore the similar outfit of Kakashi and other jounin. He was always like a big brother to Naruto, also the teacher of the academy, a starting school for ninja. Irika was a relatively nice person, always caring for Naruto in every way possible. He too looked like he hadn't slept this night. Hinata was the last. Her eyes however were a bit bloodshot for some reason. She also showed signs of worry. Well, the last time she saw him he did have a hole in his chest. That tends to bring worry in some people's eyes. Naruto scratched the back of his head a little as Might Guy entered the room. I tried to get the others Kakashi but they were all busy and promised to be by soon. Good to see you again Naruto, I see youth has failed to leave you so soon. A smile graced Naruto's face as Might Guy struck his nice guy pose, one thumb up and a huge smile on his face, his teeth almost gleaming from light. The others however missed this pose as Shikamaru next spoke, his voice slightly heavy. I'm sorry Naruto, I should have been there. It's alright Shikamaru, there is nothing you could have done. I am just lucky enough I got Sasuke back. A small laugh escaped him. Just don't go getting another hole in your chest again and you should be fine. By the way, thanks Tsunade for your quick treatment. Actually, from what Kakashi-sensei told me, I should be thanking the both of you, along with the others. Hinata grew slightly red at this and Shikamaru nodded as Naruto continued, by the way, how is everyone else? Irika spoke next. Everyone else is fine, or in a stable condition. Kiba suffered some major cuts, Niji as well. Choji was chakra exhaustion but you saw him perfectly fine. Lee is also almost done recovering. The boy really knows how to bounce back from almost any injury. I am more worried about you Naruto, are you alright? Yeah, like I will be defeated, believe it. I am not talking physically Naruto. First fighting Sasuke then being attacked by them, are you alright? Naruto noticed a slight trace of venom at the word them but nodded anyway. He was fine although it did hurt, a lot. He would recover, as he always had. Don't worry, it's not the first time I got attacked by villagers. The room suddenly grew dark at the sentence, no one really wanting to speak. A sigh escaped the pineapple at a faint memory. Listen Naruto, I'm sorry, apparently I have a mission with the rest of my team, I need to go. Good to see you are alright, I'll be back later. Irika then cut in, scratching the back of his head and shrugging slightly. I need to go as well, I dropped the lesson today to come here and I doubt parents are happy. I will try to come by later, alright. The two jounin as well began to head towards the exit, Might Guy speaking for the both of them. We need to head out as well, ninja do not rest. And I still need my next rematch with Kakashi. You're not getting one today. Oh come on Kakashi, just race me around the village, just once. Cut it out. The door abruptly slamming behind the two of them. The last image of them to Naruto was of Might Guy grabbing onto Kakashi's leg, begging for the rematch he always wanted. With Shikamaru and Irika staring at the two as if they were complete idiots. Which they probably were in all cases. Hearing a slight laugh he turned to his side, seeing Hinata in the chair Kakashi had left. A sudden need struck his mentality. The walls seemed to be closing in, the feeling of needing to feel the sun against his skin. Facing Hinata, a small smile graced his face. So Hinata, wanna get out of here? She probably couldn't have fainted faster. Seeing the village in his sights, the man slowed down, feeling his chakra almost drain entirely. For a moment he began to take a look at the village. It was roughly the size of his homeland, maybe larger. The mountain is where his attention was drawn the most though, and to the head of the fourth, Minato. His eyes stopped, feeling the air leave him. Putting his head down, a silent prayer was spoken by the man. Then, collecting himself, he proceeded through the village. Towards the boy he had been searching for. Team 10 walked slowly towards the gates of the village, each step slightly heavy. Choji had been cleared for missions yesterday, his chakra coming back from the amazing amounts of food he had digested. Thank his clan for processing food into chakra. Two of them were slightly still sad for Naruto, while one was less so. It wasn't that Ino didn't like the guy, just that she liked Sasuke more. She wasn't heartless for that, right? Shikamaru still couldn't help but feel slightly guilty for what had happened. While Choji still had trouble digesting that Naruto was able to bring Sasuke back, not that he didn't have faith but he wasn't the strongest of the genin in Konoha. They walked in strange but comfortable silence towards the gates. Till a man slightly running through the village ran into Ino while rounding a corner, causing the young girl to fall upon the ground. A small intake of air came from the man at the contact, shaking his head slightly. "Oh, my bad." Quickly sticking his hand out, Ino accepted bringing her to her feet. The trio quickly assessed the man. He was exceptionally tall with a slightly muscular build, with bright red hair laying messy and flat on his head, thick and wild in nature. Black long-sleeve shirt, silver armor chest piece over it with red swirls on both shoulders and his chest, solid black armor leggings. His eyes were a piercing pure blue, slightly tan, and a scar along his cheek colored a lighter shade than the rest of his face. One major thing though was a crimson sword at his side, without a sheath allowing it to be seen. The blade was made for battle but yet had a beauty to it. It was around 3.5 feet in length, possibly longer. The sword was also curved slightly. Its guard was also star-like, with 4 points, one for each side, made for catching blades, but unlike a regular katana it was sharp on both edges and came to a point, not cutting off. Its crimson glow was almost unnatural, it radiated power. The man had an air of confidence and pride around him, but a good aura. His chakra level was also nothing to scoff at, matching probably Asuma-sensei's, even greater maybe. But no one can really be stronger than him, right? He turned to Shikamaru, noticing the vest he had on as a sign of high rank. "I am sorry if I am distracting you, but do you know a Naruto Uzumaki, or where he might be preferably?" "Yes, I do know him, but why do you want to see him?" The man's eyes seemed to light up, and his mood improved to a happier one. "I need to talk to him about his stay in the Leaf." "What?" "Sorry, or rather I am here to ask him about what has happened since I was gone. I am an old friend." "Does he know you?" "No, but I am an old friend of his parents." Shikamaru noticed a slight change in his voice. Maybe one of sadness. Should he tell this man? It is not like people are rushing up saying that they know Naruto's parents. If what he said was true, then this might be one of the greatest things to happen to Naruto. Shikamaru needed to know if he was telling the truth, and with the looks his team had, they were wondering the same thing he was. Turning back to him, Shikamaru's expression turned to one of complete seriousness. "Are you lying? You're a Nara, aren't you? You should be able to tell me." He was true. Shikamaru could see if he was lying, but it didn't look like he was. His pupils didn't dilate, his heart rate didn't increase, nor did his state of breathing. This man, whoever he was, did know Naruto's parents. "What are your intentions with him?" "To at the very least talk to him, but if all goes well I would like to give him a gift." "I am not going to hurt the kid, you make it sound as if I would." The man still wasn't lying, and this made Shikamaru a little irritated. No one knew Naruto's parents, at least no one claimed. Kami, this was getting troublesome. If he isn't lying then just send him on his way. He is at the hospital, and by the way, what is your name? The man turned towards the center of the village, an alleyway behind the trio. "Call me Kenshi." With that the man took off towards the center of the village, leaving Shikamaru in a very confused state. Why do I got the feeling he is going to be troublesome? Kenshi quickly saw his destination after talking to the three ninja. A fairly large building surrounded by a fence. Taking a deep breath he entered the building as smelling pain, medication, and death. Taking this all in for a moment, breathing it in, Kami how he loved this smell. With a slight sigh a small pill was produced from his pocket, entirely black in color and small, with a slight crunch and tightening of his face the pill was chewed and swallowed. How he hated doing that. Entering the building the white overtook him in an instant, the absence of color showing out more than anything. The building was also oddly empty, strange for a hospital. In any case, it wasn't his problem, only one person was on his mind right now. Looking forward, His vision saw a woman at the front desk gazing in his direction, a bit strangely actually, but having to start somewhere. He approached the desk, a slight smile on his face. "Excuse me. Can I please see Uzumaki Naruto?" She scoffed and smiled at him, irritating the man more than anything. "What do you want to see that demon for, handsome?" Before she could even react, she saw a crimson red blade at her throat, already cutting the skin of her neck. "Room, now."